guys, Eevee Guy here. Welcome to a new video. Today I will do a Nuzlocke challenge in the Owen region in the Gen 3 games. So, Owen give us 141 Pokemon more. And all of those 141 new Pokemon, who knows what can come out from the grass and the sea for us to use. So, the rules for this challenge is, if a Pokemon faints, is dead and must be boxed or released. I can only catch the first wild Pokemon in each route. Every time I defeat a gym leader, that gym will be my checkpoint. If I black out, I must reset from the last checkpoint. I will be playing in set mode. I will use HM Mules if I need to. It's not really a rule, but you understand me. My level cap will start level 15 and increase always 5 levels for the next gym. If it goes over level, I will put it in the box until it can be used again. This means this rule will bring advantages, but it will also bring disadvantages for myself. But of course I will still try to match the levels from the gym leaders, if I need to. The ones below the level, of course. I can't heal in battle, I'm only allowed to use health items. I'm only allowed to use Pokemon from Gen 3 or Pokemon from previous generations that will evolve into Pokemon from Gen 3. So, put a like on that video, subscribe to my channel, Eevee will appreciate, and come with me in this adventure. So, we start in Little Root Town. We moved to a new house and our mom is getting everything back at the house. But this is not really important. What is important is that we need to save this guy from certain death. And we use one of his Pokemon, Mudkip, to help him. After we help the professor, he gives us the Mudkip, so I name it Mudfish. We go find our rival May and she challenges on a battle. But a few tackles finish the fight quickly. On Route 101 I catch a Wurmple and I name it Worm. And on Route 102 I catch a Seedot and I name it Corn. With some training, Worm evolves into Silcoon, and on Route 104 I catch a Zigzagoon and I name it Rocket. And then Worm got killed on a wild battle. Damn it. Losing a Pokemon so early. That's not good. Fortunately, on Petalburg Woods, I catch a Slakoth, and I name it Malas. And on Route 116, I catch a Skitty, which I name it Kitty. So after some training, I decided it was time to face Roxanne, the Rock-type gym leader. She starts with Geodude, and I go with Mudfish. Geodude falls after a single Water Gun, and then comes Nuzlocke. I decide to use Mud Slap after one Water Gun, and even after she healed 2 times with a potion, a few more hits with Water Gun puts Nuzlocke down. So we win an easy first batch. Then on the way to save this guy's neck again, Mudfish managed to evolve into Marshtomp. And on Rock Turf Tunnel I catch a Wishmore and I name it Soundwave. Then I go to Dilford Town, and while I was going to deliver the letter to Steve, on Granite Cave I catch a Makuhita and I name it Sumo. Then I deliver the letter to Steve, I go back to Rustboro City to get the experience share, then I came back to Dilford Town to face Brawly, the fighting type gym leader. He starts with Machop and I go with Mudfish. To be fair, I hope I can hold on, because Mudfish is the only one that is with higher level. So I go for Mud Slap, although it doesn't make too much damage, it takes the accuracy, while Machop goes for a Bulk Up. And then he starts to go for Seismic Toss, which leaves Mudfish on half, and then our Oranberry heals a little bit. Then Brawly heals Machop with a Super Potion, so I start to go with Mud Slap again. But then another Seismic Toss leaves Mudfish on 9 HP. So I go with 2 Mud Shots, but Machop survives on the red. So Brawly heals again, so I go with Mud Shot again. Fortunately, Machop's accuracy is so low that it can't hit, and eventually goes down. Next is Makuhita, so I start to go first with Mud Slap. Fortunately, Makuhita goes first with Bulk Up, but after that, the next hit starts to miss. Unfortunately, the PP of Mud Slap is finished, so I don't have other choice but to use another move. So I go for Mud Shot, Makuhita misses an arm thrust, then a last Mud Shot puts Makuhita down. And we win the second batch. What a lucky battle. Damn! Time to level up my team, I don't want to risk anymore. So we go deliver the goods to Captain Stern, we deal with some Team Magma's grunts, Then after some training, Corn evolves into Nuzleaf, Rocket evolves into Lionmoon, and Malaz evolves into Vigoroth. Then on Route 110 I found a Gulpin, which I catch it and I name it Tummigun. Then it's time to face Watson, the electric type gym leader. But thanks to Mudfish, all of his Pokemon fall with Mudshot, winning the third patch. Then on the way, Soundwave finally evolves into Loudred. On Fiery Path I found a Torkoal and I name it Fire Shell. On Route 112 I catch a Numel and I name it Volcamo. On Route 113 I catch a Spinda and I name it Dizzy. So it's time to face Maxi. He starts with Mightyena and I go with Mudfish. I managed to hit 6 Mud Slaps to lower Mightyena's accuracy first, then I start to attack. It took a little bit to go down because Maxi healed it, but eventually Mightyena goes down. Next is Golbat, so I change for Soundwave to hit a Supersonic. Then I change for Malaz, and Golbat snaps out of Confuse right away, so that's just perfect. So I go for Yawn to put it to sleep and use Slack Off to heal. And this took a while, of course, because Golbat was always waking up, and I needed to put it to sleep every single time. Until I had no choice but to change for Rocket and hit 2 headbutts to put this damn Golbat down. Last is Camerupt, so I change for Mudfish, which takes a Magnitude 5, and then I go for Water Gun, which is enough to put Camerupt down, winning the fight. Finally. And now it's time to face Flannery, the Fire-type gym leader. I go with Mudfish, and her 2 Slagmas go down with a single Mud Bomb. Last is Torkoal. I still manage to hit 1 Mud Bomb, but then Torkoal makes a lot of damage with Body Slam. But then I go for Mud Slap, and on the next turn Torkoal misses, so another Mud Bomb puts Torkoal down, winning us the 4th patch. Not too bad. And then I go face my dad, Normal, the normal type gym leader. He starts with Slacking and I go with Mudfish. Slacking makes a huge damage with Facade, but I start to go for Mud Slap, which makes Slacking miss his attacks. So after some annoyance with Normal healing it, Slacking eventually goes down. Next is Vigoroth, which makes even more damage with Facade. Fortunately, I'm still lucky enough to put 3 Mud Slaps, but I don't want to risk anymore, so I change for Rocket. And I'm glad I did, because Vigoroth goes for Feint Attack. Then I go for Headbutt, making some damage, but then Vigoroth goes for Slash, which crits and kills the Rocket. Yeah, you have to be careful with the critical hits. I know. Words from a wise man. I send Soundwave, and first it takes a Slash, then I go for Supersonic. Then I manage to use 5 Howls, while Vigoroth hits itself in Confuse, and Norman heals Vigoroth. So then I go for a Stomp, which leaves Vigoroth on the red. Vigoroth misses the Facade, so another Stomp puts him down. Last is Slacking, which only goes for Focus Energy, so 2 Stomps puts it down, winning us the 5th patch. And we only have a death on our team. Rest in peace, Rocket. So I put Rocket on the box and bring Fire Shell with me. Then I use the Moonstone that I got from Meteor Falls and evolve Kitty into the Elkaty. On Route 118 I found an Electrike, which is awesome because the next gym is a flying type. I catch it and I name it Thunder, and then I evolve it right away into Manectric. Then we take care of some Magma Grunts, and we get as a reward a Castform, which probably I will never use. Then we have a battle against May. She starts with Numel and I go with Thunder, because I forgot to change my team. So I switch for a Mudfish. Then a Surf takes Numel down. Next is Grovyle, so I change for Fire Shell. And then I take down Grovyle with a Flamethrower. Last is Wilmer, so I change back to Thunder, and I use a Spark to take down Wilmer, winning the fight. Then it's time to Winona, the Flying type gym leader. She starts with Swallow and I go with Thunder. Swallow goes for Quick Attack and then gets paralyzed right away with Thunder's ability, Static. I use Howl to raise Thunder's attack, I go for another Howl, and Swallow goes for Double Team. I go for a 3rd Howl, and Swallow gets fully paralyzed. I go for a 4th Howl, and Swallow gets fully paralyzed again. I go for a 5th Howl, and Swallow goes for Double Team. I go for the last Howl, and Swallow gets fully paralyzed. After my attack is on +6, I use Spark to take down Swallow in one shot. Next is Altaria, and I go for quick attack, and Altaria goes for Dragon Dance, raising its attack and speed. I go for another quick attack, and Thunder crits, taking down Altaria. Next is Skarmory, and I go for Spark, making a lot of damage, and Skarmory just goes for Sand attack. Then Winona heals Skarmory, and I go for Spark again. And Thunder crits again, taking down Skarmory. Last is Pelipper, which protects, but it goes down with a single Spark on the next turn, winning us the 6th badge. Wow, that was a nice battle. Then we get to Lilycove City, and we have another battle with me. She starts with Swallow, and I go with Mudfish, because I once again forgot to change the position of my team, so I change for Thunder. Then a single Spark takes it down. Next is Numel, so I change back to Mudfish, which takes it down with a Surf. Next is Grovyle, so I change for Fire Shell. Then I go for Flamethrower, which Grovyle survives on the red. Then May switches for Wilmer, so I switch to for Thunder, which takes a Water Pulse and gets confused. But Thunder gets through confusion and takes down Wilmer with a Spark. Grovyle comes back. I was thinking of switching, but then I decide to stay and take Grovyle down with a Spark, winning the fight. On Mount Pyre, I found a Duskull, which I catch and I name it Death. Then I handle some Magma Grunts, Mudfish evolve into Swampert, Malaz evolve into Slacking, Death evolves into Dusclops, and Soundwave evolves into Exploud. And now it's time to face Tade and Liza, the Psychic type gym leaders. A double battle. They go with Solrock and Lunatone, and I go with Mudfish and Death. Solrock goes for Psychic on Death, and Lunatone goes for Calm Mind. Then Mudfish goes for Surf, hitting both of them, and Death goes for Shadow Punch on Lunatone, taking more than half to Lunatone, both of them. Then Solrock goes for Sunny Day, and Lunatone misses a Hypnosis, fortunately. Then Mudfish goes for another Surf, which doesn't do that much now because of the sun, and Death goes for another Shadow Punch on Lunatone, taking it down. Solrock goes for Psychic on Death again, but then Mudfish takes down Solrock with a Muddy Water, winning us the 7th badge. Not bad! Then we have to deal with some Magma Grunts until we get to Maxi, the leader of Team Magma. He starts with Mightyena, and I go with Thunder. I start with a Bite, while Mightyena goes for Scary Face to lower our speed, then Mightyena goes for Swagger, raising Thunder's attack, but putting Thunder confused. But Thunder gets through confused, hitting Mightyena with a Spark, and leaving it paralyzed. Then Maxi decides to change Mightyena for Camerupt to receive my Spark, which of course doesn't affect Camerupt because of its ground type. Of course I decide to change as well for Mudfish, receiving a critical hit Earthquake, leaving Mudfish on 15 HP, before taking out with a Surf. Then Mightyena comes back, so I change back to Thunder, and Maxi cures Mightyena with a Super Potion. Then I go for Howl to raise Thunder's attack, and Mightyena gets fully paralyzed. Then I go for Spark, and Maxi heals again with a Super Potion. But then another Spark and a Quick Attack takes Mightyena down. Last is Crobat, which uses Confuse Ray, leaving Thunder confused. And Thunder hits itself in Confuse. Then Crobat goes for Bite, while Thunder gets through Confuse to use Howl to raise its attack. Crobat hits with another Bite, and I go for Spark, making a lot of damage. Then Crobat goes for another Bite, and Thunder's ability Static activates, leaving Crobat paralyzed. Now we just need to hit a Spark, and we do, putting Crobat down, winning the fight. Then Maxi awakens Groudon, leaving the world a mess, and then it's up to me to stop Groudon. But I just threw the Master Ball on it, and the world is safe. And now it's time to face Wallace, the Water-type gym leader. He starts with Love Disc, and I go with Thunder. A single Spark takes Love Disc down. Next is Whiscash, so I change for Soundwave, which takes an Earthquake. Then I go for Supersonic, and Whiscash hits itself in Confuse. Then I go for Howl, while Whiscash hits itself again in Confuse. Then I use Hyper Beam, and Whiscash goes down. Next is Celio, and because of the recharge turn, Soundwave still gets hit by an Aurora Beam. But then we change back to Thunder, which takes another Aurora Beam. Then I use one Owl, and then a critical hit Spark puts Celio down. Next is Seeking, and I go for another Owl, while Seeking goes for Rain Dance. I got scared because of the boost that Seeking can have now, so I changed for Mudfish. Then after some Muddy Waters and some healing, of course, Seeking goes down. Last is Melodic, and I change for Death, and use Will-O-Wisp to burn the Melodic. Then I change for Soundwave, but it takes a lot of damage, so I change for Malaz. And here is where the fun starts. Because of Malaz's ability, Truant, Malaz can only attack every 2 turns, unfortunately. But still, Malaz has Slack Off, which can heal it. The problem is that Melodic has Recover, which also heals. So here what I do is to attack with Slash when I have the chance, use Encore so I can make Melodic spend more PP, then heal Malaz back to full with Slack Off, until finally I noticed that Melodic was not using Recover anymore. But still I had a problem. I need to bring Thunder because Malaz Slack Off was out of PP as well. So I needed a safe switch for Thunder, so I sent Soundwave just to go down. Sorry buddy. Then I bring Thunder to take down Melodic, and then we win the last badge. Then I box Soundwave, rest in peace buddy, and then I decide to bring Sumo to fill the empty spot. And it didn't take too long to evolve it into Ariyama. Then before we leave the victory road, we have a last fight with Wally. He starts with Altaria and I go with Thunder. I go for 2 Howls, then 2 Thunders takes Altaria down. Next is Delcatty, but after some 2 bites and a quick attack, Delcatty goes down. Last is Magneton, so I change for Mudfish, then I use a Mud Shot to take down Magneton. Next is Roselia, so I change for Death to put a Will-O-Wisp and a Confuse Ray. Then I have to switch because Death got poisoned and had a Leech Seed as well, so I change for Thunder. Then a few bites takes Roselia down. Last is Gardevoir, but 3 bites that made Gardevoir flinch takes her down, winning the fight. Then I put my team on level 55, and now it's time to face the Elite Four. And the first one is Sydney, the Dark type specialist. He starts with Mighty Anna and I go with Sumo. Then I use Vital Throw to put Mighty Anna down. Next is Shiftry, so I change for Fire Shell. Then Shiftry goes down with a Flamethrower. Next is Sharpedo, but I change for Thunder to take it down with a Shockwave. Next is Cacturne, so I change back to Fire Shell to take it down with a Flamethrower. Last is Absol, so I change back to Sumo to take it down with a Vital Throw, winning the fight. Next is Phoebe, the Ghost type specialist. She starts with Dusclops and I go with Thunder. I go for Bite, but then Dusclops takes itself down with Curse. Next is the second Dusclops, so I change for my own Dusclops, Death, which takes a Confuse Ray, and I go for Confuse Ray as well. Then I go for some damage, then I change for Thunder, and I use Bite, then Phoebe heals, so I take the chance to go for Howl. Then 2 more bites takes Dusclops down. Next is Banette, which goes down with 2 bites. Next is Sableye, which goes down with a single Thunder. And last is the second Banette, and a couple of bites takes Banette down, winning the fight. Next is Glacia, the Ice type specialist. She starts with Glalie and I go with Sumo. Sumo takes down Glalie, Celio, the second Celio, and the second Glalie. Then it's too weak to continue for Wall Rain, so I change for Malaz. Then I use Yawn first to put it to sleep, then I heal with Slack Off, use Bulk Up, then a single slash puts Wall Rain down, winning the fight. Next is Drake, the Dragon type specialist. He starts with Shelgon and I go with Mudfish. I take it down with Earthquake. With Altaria I took it down with Rock Tomb. The 2 Flygons I took them down with Muddy Water. And Mudfish after all of that is on 10 HP to face Salamence. So I change for Thunder, which takes down Salamence with 2 Thunders, winning the fight. Last is the champion Steve. He starts with Skarmory and I go with Fire Shell. Then a single Overheat takes down Skarmory. Next is Metagross, which uses Earthquake, and my Overheat only makes half. So I change for Mudfish, which takes Metagross down with an Earthquake. Next is Aggron, which goes down with a single Surf. Next is Credilli, so I change for Sumo, and 2 Vital Throws puts Credilli down. Next is Armaldo, so I change for Malaz, and I made some things. First putting Armaldo to sleep with Yawn, then I use 2 bulk ups, then going back with slack off to heal, then use bulk up when I have the chance, and of course this takes a lot of time because of that useless ability of my last Truant. But eventually I put it on +6 attack, but still it was annoying, because Steve heals 5 times in a row before Armado goes down. But then last is Claydol, which goes down with a single slash. So we become the champion, win the battle and the run. Damn, this team here was quite good. And if it wasn't because of that stupid ability from slacking, Malaz would be an even better Pokemon than it already is. But overall, this was a fun ride. I loved the Pokemon that I had to use. Some of them, like Makuhita, Slacking and Exploud, I never used them before and they are actually decent Pokemon. Not bad at all. But like I said, the Truant ability, that sucks. But hey, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed playing it. If you did, put a like on that video and subscribe to my channel. That helps me a lot and that way you will not miss the next challenge. Evie will also appreciate, and I hope I see you on the next challenge video. Peace!